Since quitting my corporate job this past October, I've been thinking a lot about my goals for the new year. And I feel like I have so many things I want to accomplish that at times it seems a bit crazy. But one thing I want to do differently this year is to do everything in my power to make sure my goals last. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to be about it, right? And I'm sure you feel the exact same way. So before this year ends and we hit the ground running, chasing the goals we desire to achieve in the new year, we must first be aware of the source of our goals. And this is something I didn't think too much about until after I quit my corporate job. So today we will talk about the two types of goals and how to discern the difference. So that way both you and I can start this new year off on the right foot. So there are two types of goals, as I mentioned. The first are goals created out of inspiration, and the second are goals created out of desperation. Each type has a massive impact on our emotions and output, so the energy you have to put towards the goals you've set. Here's how to think about each type, starting with the latter. When a goal is created out of desperation, emotionally, it can feel like a heavy weight bearing on us. Energy-wise, it feels burdensome because of the sense of urgency it creates by default. On top of this, imposter syndrome and self-doubt begin to manifest. Think about decluttering your life as an example. Depending on your circumstances, it can feel like an impossible thing to accomplish within a reasonable time frame. Now, let's substitute decluttering for something else. Let's say that your goal is to grow your business, or to pay off your debts, or to save a certain amount of money, or to lose weight. Again, depending on your circumstances, it can feel like this is impossible to accomplish within the time frame you want to accomplish it in. You see, this mainly happens when we compare our journey and progress to others and their progress. So to combat this, we frantically and desperately search for ways and answers to accomplish our goals faster. Now, the big thing to note here is that goals created out of desperation make us feel like we have to do these things instead of wanting to. And this is how most of us set our goals, frantically and desperately, whether we intend to or not. And then we wonder why we lose steam halfway through the year, or give up and quit, or question year after year after year why our goals don't work out. But the good news is that there's a better way. When goals are created out of inspiration, it feels like a calling pulling us to do these things, rather than it feeling like an obligation or a chore. And the perfect metaphor for this is when I think about my career as a track and field athlete. On the track, we had this running joke, no pun intended, where we would talk about how athletes from other sports run to condition themselves to play their sport effectively. But track athletes run to condition themselves to then run more. And I bring that up to say this: when we create our goals and hit the ground running, chasing the accomplishments we desire, we should do so because we want to, not because we have to. This is why runners run, why painters paint, why dancers dance, and why writers write even if they don't get paid or make a living from it. So when you think about your decluttering journey, or your business growth plans, or your debt payoff plans, or your weight loss journey, or whatever your goals are, it's important to remember that you're not doing these things because you have to, right? You don't have to do anything. You're doing them because you want to. You want to prioritize your values. You want to put your family first. You want to pursue a more meaningful career. You want to host your family for the holidays completely stress-free. You want to downsize your living, save money, stop living paycheck to paycheck, travel on your own terms, change your family's tree, right? You want to fill in the blank for you. See, the big thing to note here is that goals created out of inspiration is often the only motivation we need. We don't think ourselves into doubts, rationalize why we can't do it, how we should focus on more important things, or tell ourselves that we're not good enough to get it done. Those thoughts can only be fueled when a goal is created out of desperation. But now you're probably wondering, okay, well, how do I know when a goal is created out of inspiration versus desperation? And that, my friend, is the most important question we have to answer. Here's how I've learned to discern the difference. It's really simple, I promise you. The only thing I do is observe my emotions and output. And by output, I'm referring to the energy I have to put towards the goals I've set. And I have a really simple exercise I go through that takes me less than 30 seconds to complete, and I want to share it with you, all right? So the next time you create a goal and before you hit the ground running, do these two things. Number one is check in with your emotions. How do you feel when creating the goal? Do you feel good, inspired, excited, called to take action, or none of the above? And number two is check in with how you feel energetically. Goals created out of desperation will feel draining, confining, and stressful. And you may feel a sense of unnecessary pressure or urgency. Now, another great indicator of goals created out of desperation are goals that never seem to last. So if you find yourself talking about and setting the same goals year after year around this time of the year, then it may be a good time to switch things up. That's it. All right. So the one thing I want you to remember and walk away with is this. Goals created out of inspiration generate outcomes you're further inspired by. As a quick action step before this year ends, I want you to hit pause for a moment and think about the goals you have. And then ask yourself, were they created out of inspiration or desperation? If the latter, I urge you to revise them. You'll be glad you did. Keep growing on your journey, my friend. Keep learning, and remember to always stay true to you. I'm excited for you and the goals you want to accomplish. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.